America is currently being ravaged by crime. Ravaged by crime. Why? Let's talk about why. We sure we're ready to talk about this? First, St. George Floyd died. You remember that. The St. George Floyd video that flooded the internet, and then we had these anti-police riots all across America with all these defund the police initiatives. We had them all across the country. And as a result, cities across America began to defund the police, take radical steps to get cops off the streets. New York City, they removed the plainclothes cops, the ones who were out there proactively stopping crime. Cities like Austin, Texas, slashed $150 million from the police budget. Cities like Los Angeles, slashing budgets. Minneapolis, slashing budgets. And now, what is the result been? What has the result been? Disaster. Absolute disaster. And while all this insanity was going on, cities burning, we had Democrat after Democrat after Democrat going on television, pundits and politicians alike, encouraging this kind of insane lawlessness.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly.
That ain't a riot, what we're seeing right now in Minneapolis. They are strictly principled anti-fascists, and they've taken a principled stand to stand against white supremacists and white nationalists wherever they may show up.
I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally.
It says it right in the name, Antifa, anti-fascism, which is what they were there fighting. Listen, there's no organization is perfect. There was some violence.
Any reasonable person would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
But thank goodness for the looters, man.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
I don't care that much about statues.
Shouldn't that be done by shouldn't that be done by a commission or the city council, not a mob in the middle of the night throwing it into the harbor?
People will do what they do.
Do what they do. Show me where a protest is supposed to be polite and peaceful. While America's cities were burning last year, America's politicians and pundits were all over the television, cheering the whole thing on, encouraging it. And so now, where are we? Well, there's more to it. You see, that defunded the police, that handcuffed the police, if you'll pardon the pun, in cities across the United States of America. But there's another thing that happened last year, or started happening in waves last year, and it's still happening today. Criminals kept getting released from jail. Remember that happened in St. Louis? I remember when St. Louis was burning, rest in peace, David Dorn. When St. Louis was being torched, they were just turning so many of the crooks loose. And city after city after city, they would catch these guys committing acts of violence, arson, vandalism, and they would just say, oh, you're good. Oh, well, we can't keep him. That wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be equitable. Why, though? Why? I mean, Kamala Harris herself is calling to bail these people out of jail back in 2020. Remember that? Oh, it's fine. There she is, raising money for the Freedom Fund. Should be noted, one of those guys bailed out by the Freedom Fund went right on to murder somebody. But why? Why the commitment to turn people loose from jail? Is this because of equity? Is it because of racism? We got to stop this racism. That's how they always sell things. Well, pause there for a moment. And let's talk about why. Because we're going to get into Waukesha and all kinds of things, but let's talk about why. Why do they turn violent criminals loose? They're communists. And that's what communists do. From Lenin's days, Lenin used to write about this all the time. This is not like something the early communists hid. They understood. They wanted to turn open the jails so violent criminals would go out and commit more acts of violence. But that doesn't make sense to the normal mind, right? That gets confusing. You're probably sitting there saying, well, that doesn't make any sense. Who would do that on purpose? Well, you must understand something, because this is going to keep happening in this country. Violent criminals are going to keep getting turned loose, and they're going to keep killing people and hurting people. This is done on purpose. They know when they turn that violent piece of trash loose, he's going to leave and continue to be a violent piece of trash. That's just the way it goes. They want that to happen. Why? They want you to feel unsafe. They want you to feel as if everything is chaotic and it's unsafe, and I don't like any of this. That's because you need to feel that way before you'll ever willingly give a communist power. Happy, content, safe-feeling people would never willingly choose communism in a million years. The only people who have ever willingly chose communism were people who were stuck in some horrible situation, and the communists presented themselves as some beacon of light. The communists in America are no different. They are actively trying to burn America to the ground. They want to. They love it. They're not looking right now at all these violent criminals. Waukesha, that terrorist, right before he mowed down 60 people with his SUV, he got sprung for like $1,000 from jail. They looked at that and thought, nice. Don't believe me? Here was your president after that.
Why hasn't the president visited the members of this Christmas parade attack?
Obviously, any president going to visit a community requires a lot of assets, requires taking their resources, and it's not something that I have a trip previewed at this point in time, but we remain in touch with local officials, and certainly our hearts are with the community as they've gone through such a difficult time.
Oh, you can tell she's busted up over it. Well, that's weird because he had no problem visiting Kenosha once that piece of trash Jacob Blake was shot. That's funny. That's so odd. And I mean, you have news organizations like CNN. They're putting out headlines saying let me see if I have this right. A car killed all those people. See that? A car drove through the parade. Did you know? It was just some random car. It certainly wasn't a vile, violent, multi-time felon, racist black nationalist with Black Lives Matter all over his social media, anti-white posts all over his social media. He gets revved up from these scumbags and gets in his car and goes and mows down 60 white people. And he mows them down on purpose. And look, Ilhan Omar and AOC, they're super mad right now because Lauren Boebert came out and made a little crack at Ilhan Omar. And they're out there calling it the Ku Klux Klan caucus and everything else. They don't miss a beat. We just had some racist black nationalist piece of trash respond to rhetoric just like this, and he responded by murdering people. An 8-year-old boy died there. 8 years old. Adorable boy, right there. 8 years old. That's Jackson Sparks is his name. He got mowed down by a black nationalist in a parade because of the rhetoric of AOC and Ilhan Omar and every piece of trash on the media who blamed white supremacy for Kyle Rittenhouse's verdict. I am assigning blame. I do blame these people for what they did. It is their fault. It is their fault. I was told 10,000 times that Donald Trump's rhetoric caused January 6th. They impeached him over it. That what Donald Trump said caused it. Fine. If we're in the rhetoric game, then we're officially in the rhetoric game. AOC is directly responsible for those murders in Waukesha. Ilhan Omar is directly responsible. Joe Biden, you murdered those people. Media people, all of you out there, white supremacy this and white supremacy that. Kyle Rittenhouse is a white supremacist. You're murderers, multi-time murderers. You enabled that terrorist. Oh, does that make you uncomfortable? I thought rhetoric caused violence. Does your rhetoric not cause violence? Oh, please, we all know what the game is. We know what the game is. You're fine with violence. You love violence as long as it's people who oppose you getting killed. That's the truth of the matter. That is the truth. We have a media and pundit class of communists in this country who actively encourage violent, vile pieces of filth to murder people. We have DAs out there, Soros-funded DAs in places like Philadelphia, across the nation, turning loose violent criminals so they'll murder people. We have enablers of murder in positions of power in this country, and it's disgusting, and it better stop, and it better stop soon, or we're in trouble. Oh, I know what the game is. Oh, I'm assigning blame now. Now we're gonna play this game. I remember all the Nazi, white supremacist, Ku Klux Klan caucus stuff. Oh, that's fine. Let's play that game, communist. Let's play that game. I'm officially in. You ready? I'm ready. Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.